Coming into 2015 archery season, I had high hopes. I had a lot of great deer on camera. And as the season started, all them high hopes kind of started dwindling away. I really didn't have nothing on camera, and I wasn't seeing hardly anything until the morning of October 31st. I set out to a different piece of property about an hour from my house. It's a great travel corridor. Just as I suspected, I had 4 does come through, and not long after that, about 25 yards, here's this great mainframe 9-pointer. This deer looked like he had great potential, like his G2s, not only were they just split, but they were double split. They had it coming off each side, the front and the back. It was a heck of a buck, really one that you don't see very often.
He's a great deer, but he isn't exactly what I'm looking for here. A lot of good deer come to this property, and I think there'll be something a little better than that. It's still early. It's October 31st. It's Halloween, the morning of October 31st. And we're gonna sit tight, try to hold out for something bigger. We got deer on some other properties we're trying to kill, so a great encounter nonetheless. So hopefully if a little luck's on our side, we'd get a big boy come strolling through here.
That evening, I went to a different property and had a great encounter with a nice deer. I called him Kickback because off the back of his rack, he had a tine shooting off there. He came through, gave him the pass, and as luck would have it though, he actually ended up getting shot by a neighbor guy. The following evening, I was sitting over a Real World Wildlife Seed bean field, and deer started just moving like crazy that evening. They were coming in and out of that bean field feeding. Had one particular buck, mainframe 9-pointer. Great buck, real heavy, had a big body on him. I thought he was 4. In hindsight, he might have been a 5-year-old. I possibly should have shot that deer, but he didn't have exactly what I was looking for. He put on an excellent show, made a scrape right there in front of me. Just a great encounter with a great buck. He ended up getting shot the following evening or following morning by the neighboring landowner. I never got to actually see the buck or see what he scored, but I showed some pictures and it was confirmed that it was him. So great buck, congratulations to that guy, heck of a deer for him. After that, I really didn't have much luck at all until the evening of November 4th. I was lucky enough to kill this deer that's mounted right here behind me. He's a deer I call Cluster. I had watched him for 2 years, had trail cam photos of him, and I actually passed him one evening early January of 2013-2014 season. He was a great deer then, but I thought he was a 4-year-old and I wanted to wait till he was a 5-year-old. Lo and behold, he was actually already a 5-year-old, but he actually did put on quite a few inches.
Fast forward a couple days, November 4th, I'm on midnight shift, so I get off at 8 in the morning, go home and I sleep, and around this time of year, you pretty well need to be in the stand no matter what the temperatures are.
It's the evening of November 4th, and it's warm today. I think it got up to about 75 degrees, but you can't kill them if you're inside, so we decided to come out here. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's a little warm, like I said, so I don't expect the movement to be till a little later. Our strategy is, tonight, we're sitting over about a half-acre Real World Wildlife Seed plot topper. Real big thicket to our west is where we expect the majority of our deer to come. I don't think it's quite ready for them bucks, to be out chasing them does. We've been having a lot of does hit this little plot, and we're hoping that one of these big mature bucks that we have on camera is gonna come to this plot and try to scent check these does, bump them around, see if they can find the first available one.
Just as I thought, I had a few does come in there. About 45 minutes before light, I heard a pretty deep grunt in the woods back behind me. As I glassed my vortex, I see this great buck coming in. I call him Cluster. This particular deer, like I said, I call him Cluster. He was one of the 2 deer that I was looking for. He was a 5.5 or so, I thought. all kinds of trail cam pictures of him. I actually passed him the year before, had pictures of him then, but he was hard to ever see on his feet. And this was the first time I ever laid eyes on him in 2015. He came all the way out to the edge. He made a scrape. A little button buck right below me. He stared at him for a while, and then after that, he started heading out of the blot. All the does had left. As he moved off, I knew it was now or never. I was able to stop him, and get the camera on him, and get an arrow in him.
Just heard him crash. Just heard him crash. Oh, baby. Yes. That is my 5-year-old that I've wanted to kill. Oh, he come in. I don't know how far he is. I guessed him about 30. Put it on him. Boom. I think I just busted his heart out. I hear a deep grunt. Deepest grunt I've ever heard. And I see this doe walk by. And then I look and I hear he comes. I could tell it was him. Big curled tines. His G2s look like bananas. They're shaped like bananas. Comes here and makes a scrape right there, 25 yards, but I can't get a shot because of the way this tree's set up. I think I just took his heart out. I'm gonna sit down, regain my composure here, and I'll be back with you here shortly, hopefully get a recovery and get this deer. So, stick with us.
It's about 2 hours after I shot him. Waited for my wife to get here so she could film the track job, but I'm pretty sure I heard him crash. It was about a 33, 34 yard shot, and I'm pretty sure I busted his heart out, so he took off through the woods, and we're gonna follow the blood, but I think he should be right there. Shouldn't be too far, so stick with us and we'll see. Right there, he didn't go very far. He may went 80 yards, 85 yards, so awesome. Let's go check him out. Here he is, guys. We just recovered him. This is the deer we called Cluster. We got quite a bit of history with this deer. He hung out with the buck I killed last year, Deuce. Hung out with him all summer. And then once they shed velvet, I don't know if Deuce ran him off or whatever, but this deer never showed back up until after I killed my buck. Once he showed back up, he kind of made this area his core area. Being he's 5.5, I wanted to take him out. This is my target buck right here, and it all works out. Here we are, it's November 4th, and it's 75 degrees today. A lot of guys wouldn't even have went, and to be honest with you, we considered not even going. But when I woke up this evening, I decided that I better go. I can't kill him if you're sitting inside or if I'm sleeping. This Matthews Chill X did the trick, and he didn't go far, made for an excellent hunt, excellent evening. So now I got a whole week's vacation planned for next week, and I'll hop behind the camera and hopefully film another Buckton member to put one down. And finally got us on the board, and hopefully we can keep the kills rolling. As you can see, they kind of broke off, but on his shed last year, it was on his left side. That's why I called him Cluster. And I thought it was kind of neat that he dropped it on that left side and it went to his right side. But it's no doubt him, the way everything lines up. He's got the split brows. You know, he was a 5.5-year-old deer, and he was smart. You know, he didn't get this big for being dumb. I passed on him the year before. I had 4.5 or so, I thought. Great buck. By far one of the most proud bucks, you know, I've killed, because being a 6-year-old deer, what he ended up being, he was aged by a taxidermist. It makes it a lot tougher and a lot more rewarding whenever you kill a buck like that.
Well, one thing that strikes me about this episode, and something that I learned, is the neighbor is not always on the same page that you are. Blake had a heck of a fall. no question. But he passed some bucks that most people would shoot. And in fact, his neighbors end up taking some of those bucks that he passed. But fortunately, he was able to get the job done with that great buck, and it was a successful season for Blake. And it just shows persistence and knowing what your bucks are doing in your travel corridors and knowing what time to go in there and hunt them, like Blake does, you can get the job done.